everybody. In this video I got a big project that I've been working on. It's a Victron charger inverter system and a solar panel install. And so I got a lot of stuff going on in this video. So this is the end of my project right here. And I just thought I'd go over what I did in the beginning so you have an idea. And I tried to videotape as I went along doing the project, but due to trying to rush through things to get things done because we were going on a trip, I wasn't able to capture everything, but you'll be able to see in the video some of the main key points that I videotaped installing this. But I'll give you a rundown of all this. So up here is my positive and negative 4-aught wires coming in from the batteries I have. I have four 100 amp hour Battleborn batteries. And I purchased this stuff through Battleborn Batteries. You can get it on Amazon too. But when I purchased it through Battleborn, the Victron and everything, they had excellent customer support. So they knew my system. I told them what I had, what I was doing, and then they pre-programmed things for me before I received them. So I didn't really have much to do on that end. And then I had questions as I went along, and I'd contact them and they would help answer them. So very helpful, very helpful. And on top of it all, I found out when I bought this stuff, they gave me a 7% discount. So I think that's pretty standard. So that helped a lot. So anyway, the Battleborn batteries are on the other side here underneath a bed, which you'll see in the video. But here's a positive and negative. So the power comes in and it goes into the Lynx distributor here. And then in order to keep an eye on your batteries, what they're doing and how much charge they have left and hours and stuff like that, there's a shunt here. It's a 712 shunt. So there's wires that go to the battery here and they're connected in there that send a signal to this. And it also, not a signal, but it sends power, and it keeps track of the temperature too of the batteries. And there's another wire here that goes up to a monitor that I have mounted above the refrigerator, which you'll see in the video. So this is the negative side here. This is pretty much a capture area for all the power, and then things branch off of here. So let's start with the solar. And so I had 190 watts of solar, and then I added 3 more panels that are 200 watts. So I have 790 watts. So right now, let's go over here. You can't really see it, but I have a 60 amp breaker for solar. So my wires from the solar come from way on the other end of the trailer with the wires, and they come up into the breaker. Then they go out of the breaker, they go behind this panel I installed here, and they go in here and they go into this solar charge controller, MPPT, which is a really good controller. Then it gets the power from the solar goes in here, goes out, and it goes here into this, and then it actually goes in and charges the batteries. This can get a little warm, I heard. So what I did was I installed a fan behind here, and there's a temperature sensor, and then I have it blowing in on the unit. The air will come around, goes through this fan, down through this wall in the wall, goes around, and then the air can circulate back around here. It's all controlled by this speed fan controller, which you can set on manual or automatic. It's pretty slick. It's actually made for cooling down behind your refrigerator, but I modified it for this. Excuse me. And so it's all wired into the system. So what it does is you could set it at a certain temperature, and then it just kind of ramps up and down the speed. It's a variable speed fans, both of these, and it'll run slower or faster according to what you set it at to control the temperature. So then let's see. Next, just so you see here, I have this electrical track, which I try to get all the wires in, then I'll have a cap that covers it all up. And let's see, we'll go over here. This wire here, there's a positive and negative behind it. And this is a 60 amp fuse, and this for the MPPT is a 60 amp. But this one actually goes over, and it goes and it connects to my existing, where my battery terminals were before, because I abandoned that where they were, and so I connected to all my other wires that were coming off the battery before. And then that's pretty simple. And then here, these are 4-aught wires. So this here, they said to go to the links distributor, you want to ground it to the multi plus. So it's a 2-aught wire, and it goes here, around, and underneath it bolts to it there. And so that bolts to there. On the solar controller, there is a ground here. I ran it down, and it goes to the same location under there. Then we got here 300 amp fuse, and the positive goes around up here into the positive on the multi plus, and then the negative does the same. It goes right here. So now on this too, I have on the ground here, they say to ground this to the frame. So I have a 4-aught wire going down, and it's going down through the floor, and it's being grounded right to the frame. Before we go to this multi-plus, I want to go over here and show this smart dangle. What this does is it captures information coming off of the multi-plus and sends it to Bluetooth to get to your cell phone, to the app. And that wire goes around here, through here, and it comes up here and connects here. It all came pre-programmed, but if you want to change the programming, I purchased this also. It's an interface, and what you could do is connect it to your laptop or computer. You unplug this, and then you plug it in here, and then you can change the settings in this, but I don't see myself doing that. This is a multi-plus 12 volt 3000 watt it's a charger, inverter, and then an automatic transfer switch. So what it does is charges your battery, so it eliminates your charger underneath your in your AC panel inside the RV, and then it has the sine wave inverter is a 3000 watt, so it'll provide that to your RV. So it's like having a 3000 watt generator connected to your trailer, and what it does is it powers all your outlets in your trailer, and I'll show you how that works. So these wires here go to my AC panel area, and so what you do is you have your wires that come from your shore power, the side plug on the side of your trailer, they go to your AC panel, you cut it, and then you connect these wires coming from the shore power and come up in here into this unit, and then you send the wires back and you connect to your AC panel. So you'll see that done in the video too. This does come, this here comes with this and wire, but it's not used. This here you plug into the T-Sense. This is if you have lead acid batteries. You plug into that, then hook this to your battery. And what it does, it keeps a track of the temperature of your batteries charging on the lead acid batteries. like a 6 or 12 volt. And if the batteries are getting too hot being charged, it decreases the charging to the batteries or shuts it off. What else I got in here? So I think I kind of got it covered. I got the shut off here. Got all this. So you're going to see me do all this work, and you'll see the batteries. You'll see my solar panels on the roof, how I mounted them and everything. And so let me go ahead and cover this up. I'm going to cover all this stuff up and then show you what it looks like closed up. So when you do your RV, if you do something like this, you want to select a location where you can get all this in, and also you can have the batteries close by. You want the batteries close by, and I was able to do it right on the other side of the wall in another compartment underneath the bed. So you're going to need to find out what works for you and then go that route. Here it is all closed up. I got this Trax with covers on it, covering the wires. You can see it's a lot cleaner. I got this idea from Jonathan Cooper in a Facebook group. He does a lot of modifications on his trailer, and I appreciate watching him. I learned a lot from him. So his are nice and blue, and mine are black. So his blue ones match this, and it's a lot prettier. So I want to do a quick rundown to show you how things work here. If I turn this on, it's allowing the battery power to come into here and go over to the multi-plus, and also allows solar power to come through to go to charge the batteries. If I turn the solar power on, what happens is it powers up, and you can see here it's on bulk, goes in and it goes to charge the batteries. Meanwhile, the shunt is sending information to a monitor and to my cell phone, showing what's happening in the voltage of the batteries and how everything's working in there, and what's being drawn and how much battery life I have left on what I'm with the charging and all that stuff. Then I got the multi-plus. Right now, if I have it on charger only, what happens if I have the hooked up to shore power, what happens is it'll charge the batteries and I'll still have 12 volts in the trailer. And then if I turn this inverter on, what happens, it'll click on in a second here. There it goes, clicked on. So right now it's sending power to my whole trailer. The 110 volts is going through these two wires to and from to the AC panel. So right now everything, air conditioner, everything has got power, not just a couple outlets or anything like that. So with the 3000 amp, I can run pretty much everything with the batteries I have. I can probably run my air conditioner. I know I can run the air conditioner. I don't know how long yet. I'm figuring about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I have to see what happens when I got sun and the batteries are charging and it's drawing and stuff like that. So I might be able to use it just to cool down the trailer for short periods, which is nice. So if I got to a location I wanted to cool it down, or get back from a hike or something, I want to cool it down, I can turn the air conditioner on. I bought the 3000 watt rather than the 2000 because I wanted to make sure I had more power, and then this unit was only like $300 more for this unit. So it was a good value to pay for the extra size power. You could use a 2000 watt, but you would need a soft start on your air conditioner to do it, and it would run your air conditioner, but you couldn't run anything else at the same time. With the 3000, if the air conditioner is running and I need to run a coffee pot or something like that, I can run it at the same time. So that's why I went this route. This also has some other advantages. So let's say I'm hooked to shore power and the power went out. this thing would automatically kick on in the on position. If I wasn't hooked to shore power and I was on this, and I hooked it to shore power, the shore power up, this would kick out and it would run on the shore power. So it'll choose that. So all in all, I like this, and I want to let you know, I learned a lot from different people and YouTube people showing how they hook things up. So I'm going to put links in the description below this video for you to go to, and then information and links to the products I used in this video. So you won't have to go searching around for it on your own like I did, which took weeks to do and to learn about this. So hopefully it'll help provide information on how to do this system, because when I first got into it, I'm like, oh wow, you know, I've done installed inverter before and lithium batteries before, but I was kind of like, okay. And then now I feel real comfortable with this and what it's happening. So and then contacting Battleborn, helping me walk through things, I really appreciate that. They said, we're here for you to help you through it, and they helped me select the fuse size, everything. And when I call them, they look up my account and see what I got, and they know what's going on. So it was very helpful to do that. Also, if you haven't subscribed already to this channel, I hope you subscribe. Some of my videos are pretty good. Some of them are really long, but I try and go in detail so everybody can learn. And then if you subscribe, hit that all tab to be notified of all my videos that come out as I come out with them. And also give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Feel free to comment. I enjoy comments and reading them, and also share information, things you've done, because other people read the comments and they can learn from them too. And that's why we're all here, is to learn from each other. So let's get on with this video. Thanks for watching. Hey, welcome back everybody. So in this video, I got a big project going. I have 4 lithium batteries I'm going to install in this travel trailer, and then a charging system and inverter. And then I got 190 watts of solar on my roof, and I'm going to put another 600 watts. So I'm going to be installing all these components here. And what I'm going to do is try and walk you through it the best I can as I go. So let's take a look at where the solar panels are going to go on the roof, and then I'm going to show you where these components here are going to go, and the batteries. On the roof here, I have a solar panel that's existing. Wires come in here and go down next to the refrigerator. I'm going to show you how I'm going to run my wires down here. I'm going to remove that. I'm going to install a panel in this area here, and then I'm going to come around over here, and I'm going to have one right here. So I'm going to try and get those all up here. So you'll see me mounting these panels up here and running my wires down here, and hopefully that's not a bear to do. Let's go down below and I'll show you where the batteries will be going. Let's go into this storage compartment here. I got to pass through with a rolling shelf in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a board here, and that's where all the components are going to mount to. I might have some mounting on this wall too. They'll stick out roughly around here. So what I'm going to do is just frame this in wood, and then I can screw the panel to it. I have my supports for the panel in place. So this one here is screwed down with 3 screws into the floor. I have carriage bolts here, one here, with lock nuts on the other side. I have this board up here with 3 screws, and I have it glued up to the top board. I've left this open because in this panel here, I'm going to have holes here, and my wires are going to go back there and then through this wall into the batteries. So what I'll do is I'll get my panel, and I'll lay everything out on it the way I'm going to have all my components. And then what I'll do is if I have to drill any holes, I'll pre-drill holes, and I'll figure out where screws will go to mount things. Maybe pre-drill some holes for the mounting screws, and then I'll take all the components off, put the panel on, and then I'll put everything in place while it's inside here, because it'd be too hard to squeeze it all in and into this small compartment as one unit. Let's go in here into the bedroom to see where the batteries are going to go. So under here, in a video that I made recently, I put the shelf in here, and I put some other shelves and cabinets. So I'll put a link in the description below this video to that video. So what I'm going to do is down here, I'm going to have the 4 100-watt Battle-Born batteries in here, and then I'm going to run the wires out the back over there. So let's go outside over there, and I'll show you where all the components are going to go. Here's the components that are going to go on the board, and here's the board I got cut out to fit in there. So I stained it, and I varnished it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here on this project. Wish me luck. Well, I've been busy with this. My friend, neighbor, Jeff Simpson, up the street from me, helped me lay this out. He's got a system similar to this, and so I appreciate his help on this. I wasn't going to bore you with doing all the connections and everything. I'll show you how I did the connections here in the little short clip that I'll add into this video. But this 4-aught wire, I want you to know that it is real flexible, the wire I got, but it's still pretty stiff to work with. It'll be fighting you a little bit. So in this here is the solar shutoff. So my wires will come in from the solar system into the panels, into here. And then what it does, they'll hook into here, and then they go out here. And you can see, let's see, back here, I ran the wire. I'm going to show you this fan on the other side. I'll flip this over in a minute and show you. And then I'm going to set this in place, multi-plus in place, so you can kind of see what it all looks like. So let me flip this thing over and show you what it looks like. Here's the back side and the fan I was talking about. So the air will be blowing through here into the back of the MPPT controller. Here's the solar wires that come over here from that shutoff switch. And this here is from the shunt, and it'll go to the battery, and it'll monitor the temperature of the batteries and also give power to the shunt. And then these are the battery wires. These will go through to the battery compartment, and then I'll connect them to the batteries. Here we are on the other side with the multi-plus in place here, everything's just sitting here, because for me to get this into the compartment, I'm going to have to remove this. I'm hoping I can leave this other stuff in place when I put it into the compartment. Then I'll install this and some other wires. Something to watch out when you put this panel on. There's all these little lights here, so they go in these holes here. So you got to be real careful to put them in like that, and then drop it down on there. So you don't, if you go and slide it, you're going to bend these lights and possibly break it. So I wouldn't do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this unit in place pretty soon. I got a few holes to drill prior to doing that. I think I got this ready. I got a hole drilled right here for the Lynx distributor. The ground will go down through here into the frame, and then over here is where the solar breaker is, and then the wires will come from the solar panels up through the floor here into the switch box. I have this area ready for the fan, to put the fan in here, because the fan will be blowing in here. The air will go around and go here, and it'll go around and circulate back. Should help keep things cool. So this here, I'm going to have to take these out, this tray out, because I might have to crawl in here, because I'm going to put my battery cable wires through here into where the batteries go. And I'm going to have to put some clamps there. So once I get all this in place, then this whole panel, then I'll have to crawl in here and do that inside. And then we'll go from there into the battery area. But I'm going to slide this panel in place with the components, and hopefully it goes in easy. And then I'll come back to you to show you what it looks like. I'm on the roof removing this solar panel connection box right here. It was pretty easy. I just took and scraped off the sealant around here, pried up slightly, and then took the screws off, and this lifted right off. So we have the putty here and then the sealant here. I'm going to scrape all this off. I've got the area cleaned up here and worked pretty good. This scraped right off. And so I've got the wires disconnected from the solar panel. So now I'm going to go down below, disconnect the wires down there, and then I'm going to come back up here and remove this. And when I go to work on these panels up here, I'm going to make sure I got them covered with cardboard because I don't want any voltage coming down into the connectors when I'm working on this. So you got to keep those covered so that the sun doesn't power them up, so juice doesn't come in here, and then you get a jolt and then you fall down on the ground. So let's go down below and disconnect the wires. Here's a PWM controller for the solar panels. And since we're putting the MPPT controller in, we won't be needing this anymore. So I'm going to remove this. I've already unscrewed it. And then up in here, you can see where the wires come in from the roof, from the solar panel. So I've taken the wire nut off of one of the wires there, and I'm going to take the other one off and then remove the junction box that's on the roof. And then the other wire that has a cap on it right there comes down and goes on to here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove it here. So and then we'll be running new wires down behind the refrigerator here and down to a compartment down below and through the floor up to the links distribution box to the links distributor. Looking at this, it looks like it shouldn't be too bad to feed the wires, 2 wires down, and then on the other side of the refrigerator top there, and feed it down to the bottom, which I'm going to show you down here. It shouldn't be too bad. We'll see. You never know. So under here, I would probably come down. It'd probably come out here somewhere. Here's the wires that come down from up above. And then this wire here is what goes to the batteries, which it goes down here in this big cluster. And then it does a bunch of things down there. There's a tank right under here, so that could be a problem. So what I might do is bring the wires down and then into this area here where my AC panel is, so behind it. So I'm going to take a look at this AC panel, remove it. They're easy to remove. There's like 2 screws here, and then there's usually 4. I'll pull the panel out and take a look behind it. I've got the electrical panel removed here so I can get in here. And down here is where a bunch of wires are going down through the floor, and it's got open space down below where I can go through. Instead of messing with this area where it's all sealed off really nice here, I'm going to drill a couple holes here. Well, that didn't go as planned. Trying to feed that solar wire through the wall there. Ended up pulling the microwave out, and fortunately there's a panel here that I can get in here that's removable. I tried fishing a rod down here. This rod here comes in lengths like this. and you can screw them together. So I tried pushing them through the insulation down, and I just couldn't get through to the bottom. So I'll show you in a minute where I end up coming through the bottom up to get up here. So here's the wires, the solar wires I disconnected, and I'm just going to leave it here. I got a green tape on this end and the other end and capped them off, so I might use these wires in the future for something else. Here's for the battery monitor, which is this right here. I'll be installing it in here. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do here. I'll do some type of plate and then mount it inside that. Then if you go in here, you'll see the black and red wire coming down through the roof, and then it goes down behind the refrigerator. Let me take you down below the refrigerator now and show you what that looks like. So here we are down below, and here's the wires that come from up above. The old wire is a 10 gauge, and I'm changing to 6 gauge. So I just taped them in green so I know they come from up above. I'm going to tuck them away to the side here. I'll probably use them for some future project. Then I got these wires. They go up towards the batteries that I disconnected from the one I just showed you. And I've just capped those off. I'm going to tuck those away. Then I ran the pin 3 AC wire here. And so it goes to the multi-plus, so there's an in and out wires here. They'll go into this junction box right here, and then they'll be connected, spliced into this orange wire will go into the junction box, in and out, and I'll show you how I wire that when I get to it. So these wires here are the battery, or not battery, the solar wires, 6 gauge. I had to drill a hole and do a lot of measurements to make sure I was drilling in the right spot under the refrigerator, and then fish it up the wall there. So I took those rods, got it through, and then I taped the wire to it and then pulled it down through here. And so it went down, and then it goes through the floorboard, and up there I'll show you how I hooked that up. So all in all, I think this went okay, but I'll tell you what, it was a pain. I was in here for 3 hours plus trying to fish this wire. It was just hanging up on everything. It was real frustrating. So that was last night I did that, and I just ran these other wires too, and I just had to stop and take a break and then start on it the next day. So sometimes that happens. Just have to have a lot of patience. Here we are in the control area. Here's where the positive and negative come from the solar panels. I had mentioned they go up to the links distributor, but they don't. They go into this breaker, and then it goes over and then through the MPPT and then to the links distributor. Anyway, so I got the wires there all the way up here to the front of the trailer. Got them stripped. I'm going to feed them through here, and then they're going to connect to this breaker. I've got the wires hooked up here, all nice and tight. I'm going to put this cover on here. This is an exterior box, but I got it for a good price, so I decided just to use it. I want to show you while I'm in the box here, but originally I had from this ground here, from the links going to the bottom of the ground on the multi-plus, I had a 4 gauge wire, and so what I found out was, since this is 4-aught wire, for this ground wire you do half the size. So this is a 2-aught wire, and it'll go down. That's the proper size. So this wire was wrong, and now I have the right wire in place. So I'm going to go ahead and put this multi-plus box in right here. So I want to show you, when I put this in, I made sure I had clearance here, so when I put the multi-plus in, it wouldn't be too tight here on the ceiling, and then it could drop in place. If you're up too high, you won't be able to get it in here. I've got a few things done here. I have the multi-plus installed. I have the wires, positive, negative, coming from where the batteries used to be, connected in there. And then I got the wires running up here, around, and then they go right into the links here, distributor. So, and then I got the dangle. I still got to mount up on the wall here, and then the connection for if you want to hook it to your computer and do some programming here. What you do is you just unplug this and plug it into here. The dangle is so you can communicate and see what's going on with all this stuff on your phone. I have the fan just setting in place here. I don't have it screwed in place. And then I have the temperature control set up that I'm going to have to install here on the wall too, along with these other two units. So this fan speed temperature controller for the fan that's located behind here, and then this fan too will work together. So that's about it right here. I'll be back here in a little bit so I can install some other stuff in here and show you how I do it with these. And then this will be in place right there. So this is looking pretty good. I like it so far. One other thing, got the AC wires here, the in and out. These are fed down, going through here and going up to the AC power panel. Here's where I installed the smart dongle here, and it just has a wire that runs over to your multi-plus, so it can send a signal to your phone and give you information of what the multi-plus is doing. Then you have this interface here, and what happens is if you want, it has a plug here, USB, and you can plug it to your computer, and what you do is you take this, unplug it from here, and plug it in here, and then you can go ahead and change your programming on your multi-plus if you want to. And then remember, behind here I installed the fan, and it's blowing air into this compartment from another area, and then it goes here. I installed another fan, it blows out, and then this is open cavity here, goes down through the front, and then I have a vent where the air can go around, and then it comes back down to opening down there through the pass-through and comes back here and just circulates to cool things down. So this opening here is, I cut it just the right size for the fan. So I took and traced it off the fan here, but I didn't, and then I cut it, but I didn't cut the other side because I needed to screw the fan in place. So what I did is I cut the face, and then I took the insulation, because this wall is about 1 1/8 inches thick or something, and the fan is about 1 inch thick, and I took and I cut the foam back insulation, and that fit right in there. Then I found some at the scrap metal yard. I got this here and painted it up, cut it, and stuck it in here for expanded metal. So these fans are pretty cool. You can set it to run manually. If I hit manual, right now it's manual, it's running 50%. And so this fan right here right now is blowing in, and this one's blowing out. And then I can increase it here. That's full speed. Or I can turn on automatic here, and what it'll do, you can set the temperature for it to come on and off automatically. So right now I have it 70, and what it'll do is if it gets down to 70 in this compartment, then what it'll do is it'll ramp down slowly, and then it can ramp up. So the speed doesn't need to go 100% all the time. And I put up here, this measures the temperature because this gives off some heat, not too much, and the heat will rise to here and tell it to run. So that's what happens there. So I took and I ran the wires here, inside, and down here, and then up here. And you can see I put the connector there, and then I put one over here. In this area, connected it here to the fans. I had to do some splicing of wires, but it seemed to work out pretty easily. So I have this right now wired to here, so if I turn this off, it turns all this off. I'll probably only run this if it's hot out. I don't think it's going to be, if it's 70, 80 degrees out, I don't think this compartment's going to get too hot. So if I'm in 100-degree weather or so, then I'll probably be going ahead and turning this on here. So I decided to go that route. So here, that air is getting blown down here. It comes through this vent and it goes down, and then I don't know if you can see way down there, you can see part of the fan, that little light there. So the air will be traveling down through here and circulating around like that. So to keep air movement going by that area, to keep things cool in that compartment. We're on the roof now. We're going to start getting these panels installed. So I've cleaned this up. There's the wires coming through the roof, and then here's wires from a panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this box right here. The red and black wires are going to come through the bottom, and then all my other wires from the panels are going to come through the sides, and then they'll cinch down. This is a watertight box. So I have these junction block terminals here, we're going to connect to with my wires. So it should turn out pretty nice. So on the bottom, I have butyl tape right here, and I use this Alpha Systems butyl tape. I guess Lippert is selling it. I found it online. I really like it. So what you do is you just put it down, then you peel this paper off. It's wax paper. But the thing is, the trick to this stuff is it's so sticky. It's really nice. I like it because it'll seal everything really well. I'm going to still go around with a caulking around the outside. But the trick is to keep it refrigerated before you're going to use it, so that this tape comes off easier. If not, it's all stuck together. You can see where I started. It started sticking to the paper, and so I had to hold it down as I pulled it. But when I first started, see how smooth it is along the edge here? But then as it warms up, just after a few minutes, it starts sticking to the paper more. So that's a tip. Keep it in the refrigerator. I'm going to go ahead and stick this box down and then screw it down with these screws right here to the roof. I have this screwed down 4 places. That butyl tape really holds it in place. Once you get the butyl tape down, it's almost like you don't even need the screws, but I got them in there to make sure it cinches down the butyl tape to the roof itself. This is a really nice roof that's really adhered to the plywood below it, so I feel pretty confident that everything will stay really nice here. So now I'm going to get going installing some wires, and I hope to show you clips as I go. Here's where I am so far. I got it sealed all the way around here, and you can see where I'm at here. I have one more panel set up to hook into this box. So here I got one panel here, and it's covered so I don't get electrocuted. So it wired across here right into it. I just had to add a little bit of wire. Then this one was able to just connect right from this panel over. Then let's go over here. I want to show you these 2 panels. I've tied them together here. I got to flip them over. So I've tied them together with these branch connectors here. So I have right here the positives coming in from each panel, and then it's going out positive and then negative here. So I'm wiring all these in parallel. So I'm going to run that cord underneath here and over into the junction box. So here's what it kind of looks like up here, like a war zone. You bring a few tools up here and then you end up bringing a lot more. I've got this all wired in, and then I just have to anchor down some wires. That might be tomorrow, and set these panels in place. I got them in there where they need to go, and then I need to anchor them down. So I'll be doing that next. On this is an exterior waterproof box. It has a rubber gasket around it, and it'll seal this off real well. You put that on, then you have these screws here, and it seals it off. I've got all the solar panels laid out where I want them. I got tape on the corners, so when I lay it down, I know exactly where to put it. I want to show you how I mounted these solar panels with this bracket here. So first, what I did is I cleaned the surface. This is a PVC roof, so I cleaned it with denatured alcohol. And if the roof was really dirty, at first I would clean it with the pure acetone 100%. This is nail polish remover. If you buy it at the hardware store, you get 100% pure acetone, but it runs more money than buying it this way. So that's the way I went. I cleaned all the area up with these products here real good. And then what I did is on the bottom of the pad, I put the double-sided Gorilla mounting tape here, set it down, and then there's a few ways to do this. The way I did it was the roof thickness is roughly like this thick, maybe a little less. I got screws that were bigger than this. They were actually 1/4 inch with the washer on them, but I used them all up, and then I put my sealant over them so I couldn't show you. So what I have is this one. This one would actually work too, but the 1/4 inch has more biting on it. So this is what that looks like. And then this is what they look like when they're not screwed into wood. So I'll try and find them and put them in the description below, a link to them. This is what comes with these brackets, these screws. They're self-tapping screws. These are made to screw into metal. So what they do is they drill a hole in the metal, and then the threads catch. If you use these on thin laminate wood like what's under here, then what happens is it's just going to blow through it, and it's not really going to grip. So I recommend not using these unless you're going into some type of metal, aluminum, or something like that. On our other trailer, what I used was these. They're well nuts. So what they do is when you drill a 1/2 inch hole in the roof, and then you tighten this up, and then it expands, so it'll look like this. So you have a washer, lock washer, and here's the bolt, and then it goes like that. It tightens up behind the on plywood. So this gets a real good bite. I decided to not do it on this trailer and do it the way I did, and this is really, really strong. It's not coming off. So then what I did was I used this sealant. This is made for PVC roofs only. Don't use it on any TPO or EPDM roofs. It's not for it. The life span on this, shelf life, is 10 months when stored at temperatures not exceeding 80 degrees Fahrenheit. I really like this stuff. It goes down, and it's like it's just real solid, not like a Dicor. I don't think this stuff will crack. So if you have another style roof, you can use this Dicor self-leveling lap sealant. I wish they sold this that could be used on the TPO roofs also, because I know a lot of people that would probably like this a lot better. So that's how I did it. If you can't find any screws, to go through this at a 1/4 inch. You can get a style like this and find a 1/4 inch and screw those in. The sealant will hold it from rain leaking in or anything like that. And another thing I did on this, you can often see people just load the sealant on here, the self-leveling sealant on here, and they just load it on. The reason they're doing that is so the water doesn't sit here, it'll run off. So what I did was I just did it over the bolts and the edge here, and to help hold it down to the roof. Plus I left a little gap here and here on each one, so if water does get in here, it'll run off here because there's a slight ridge, so the water will run off there. So I hope this helps you decide what you want to do to mount yours down. I also went with 3 of the brackets on each side to hold it down, and so that will actually help more instead of just going with 2. The wires are all strapped down for the solar, and what I did was I used these straps and then I put the sealant all around them. So this is right here, and then I did 2 more here. I did 1 here and then 1 over here. Here's a quick rundown of how the solar panels are wired. The panel wires from this one go into this junction box here. This panel here, they run into this junction box. These 2 panels are connected to a branch connector. Then you got the wires coming from there over here. They're going under this panel and over here. So there's 4 wires running into this. So these are all 10 gauge wires up above, and the wire going down is a 6 gauge. Now I'll show you where the wires come in from the multi-plus, the AC wires, the in and out. I've made this junction box here, and I have wire clamp connectors right here. And I drilled a hole, a 1-inch hole for those. These are 3/4 inch, so I drilled a 1-inch hole. Put these in place. The junction blocks here, there's actually 3 here in one block and 3 in the other block, and I've screwed them right into the panel. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and hook these wires up, and then I'm going to come back and explain where everything goes. So I'll be tying into this orange wire here, which is the wire that comes into the AC panel from the shore power inlet on the side of the trailer. I'm going to go ahead and put this in place and then come back to you and show you how I wired it. The junction box is in and screwed to the wall. So what I did here, this here is the shore power and AC panel. So originally these 2 wires were connected on the other side of the wall. These wires, and then what I did is I cut it, and I made 2. So this goes from the shore power, comes through, goes here, and then goes to the multi-plus in. So you can see right there. And then this here is from the AC panel, goes through and goes to the multi-plus out in the panel. So it's relatively easy to do. It just seems complicated in the beginning. So I labeled this so I'd remember this in the future if I need to get back in this panel. I ended up going through the wall here into behind the AC panel and putting this inside this compartment right next to it because there's more room to work. So it worked out really well. So I'll take you to the other side of the wall so you could see where I came through the wall on the other side. Here's a better view of where I'm at. And then on the other side is my AC panel. And then over here is where the wires come out of the wall and go back to the shore power, and then this one comes around to the AC panel. Outside at the multiplus, here is a green tape, and this is a multiplus out right here, connects there, and then here's the multiplus in wire. So it's pretty simple. Here's a quick reminder to everybody before working on any of this, and if you have the batteries, you're connecting batteries, make sure you have this in the off position and you have everything off, the solar breaker off, all this off, because when you're working on it, it can become live, especially these here. You think that maybe they aren't live, and if you have that on, power is being sent back to the other side. So when you're tying in to your AC panel, this wire will become live. So you want to make sure that you got all this off, no shore power connected anywhere, and then you should be relatively safe. Make sure you test everything to make sure that there is no power when you're working, because you could be seriously hurt or killed. So that's just a warning to everybody. Before turning on power, make sure that you tape off this switch right here. It's for the converter. So you can see the 15 amp converter. You will no longer need that. This is a converter charger right here. So the multiplus will be doing that job. So what I'm going to do in a future video is I'm just going to disconnect the wire from the converter charger and then take this converter charger out, and in its place I'm going to put this. This here is to protect your wiring and your electronics from any bad power comes in from your shore power, outside source. This I had in the other trailer. It's really nice to have. What it has is your wires come through this, and I'll show you how to wire that in the next video that I put out sometime. Now that the Go Power system's been removed, I have this big hole here. So the wire that we fed through here is going to be going to the, it goes to the shunt, the Victron shunt, and it monitors the battery. So it's got to be mounted here. And then right in this one, this wire, I ran it down, and it will go to my hardwired surge protection, electrical system protection. So I'm going to put it up here. So I've taken and I've set up a plate here, which I'll show you in a minute. But first I want to tell you, this will go down to the electrical surge protection, and it'll go down to the converter charger that I'm going to be removing below the AC panel, because that Victron Multiplus has replaced it. And then I'm going to be installing the electrical hardwired surge protection system in. So let me take you over to the table so I could show you what that's all about. Now you can see what I've done here. I've taken a stainless steel plate, and this protective paper will peel off of it. I've drilled a hole for this to mount in. This here will go in the hole, then tighten up. And then this is the electrical protection. Will mount onto here. The wire will go down here and through this hole. So I've got all my holes drilled here already. So not to get into it too far, but this is the hardwired system I'll be installing. And it's pretty simple to wire it. So keep an eye out for that video, like I've said before. And here's how it comes in this box. You get everything to make this happen. This, for those of you that don't know, this is the same thing as plugging into your pedestal when you pull up to a campsite and you plug in your thing on the pedestal on your power, and it protects your power going to all your appliances and everything, electronics in your trailer or your motorhome. And so this one's just hardwired so it stays in place at all times. I had this in our other trailer, and it saved us from a few low voltages. And what it does is it kicks out when something is wrong. And then once everything is okay again, then the power kicks back on automatically. And you can monitor it all from this here. It'll give you error codes to tell you what's wrong, what happened, and then you can reset it. So it comes with a manual. It's real easy to do. So I'm going to go ahead and peel this cover off and get to installing this in that opening there. I have the protective coating taken off the stainless steel. I just wanted to show you what it looks like before I mount these in place. I have them mounted on the plate. Got a couple screws here. You don't have to use a stainless steel plate. You can use wood or anything you want up there, or you can mount these somewhere else. You don't necessarily have to mount them right out in the open. You can have them hidden in the closet or something like that, but I prefer to have them here so I can, when I walk by, I can monitor it and check it out. So this will just sit in here. I've got the holes pre-drilled for the screws. It'll just sit in like that. So I'm going to go ahead and mount this up and come back to you. This turned out pretty good. I want to show you what it looked like installed up here. So if you're wondering where I got this piece of stainless steel, I got it at the metal supply store. And they have scrap bins, and so you can find scraps in there. If you find something that's the right size, you're lucky. And if not, if they aren't busy, they'll cut it for you. So if you ever need any kind of metal, just go to a metal supply place and get the metal. This piece cost me like 50 cents, so I got a good deal on it. Under the bed here, we got 4 100 amp hour Battle-Born batteries. I'm going to call this battery 1, 2, 3, 4. I've wired it in this configuration because I searched on the internet and I found Victron had different ways to wire up, and kind of explaining what was best. So this way I came up with this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share clips right after this one, after I go over this, and then you can pause the clips and take a look and see the different configurations. I also found where a guy did some tests to show by wires coming in and charging different ways how the batteries charge, and so how some batteries got less charge than others. So anyway, I'll go over this. I have the wires coming in from the shunt, so there's a positive and negative. I got the temperature sensor one. I bought that. It's sold separately, and so the positive goes to the shunt to power it, and the other wire goes to hook up to the battery terminal and keeps track of the temperature of the batteries. I have a coming in here 400 amp fuse. What it does, comes in from here across to battery number 3, then battery 3 to 1, then I have from battery 1 to 2, and then 3 to 4. Then the negative comes into battery 2, then goes battery 2 to 1, then battery 2 to 4, battery 4 to 3. So I found that this configuration worked for me, so that's why I went this route. You'll have to make up the decision yourself on what you're going to do. So take a look at the screenshots that I took of the different configurations. Another thing I did was I took and I put positive wires over here and negative, and I have a shelf that goes across here, which I'll show you in a second. I'll put the shelf on, and we store under here chairs and stuff like that with metal legs. So if I had the positive here, I was worried if a chair leg hit it and then the other part of the chair hit a ground, then it could short out. So I wanted to hide those positive wires as far away as possible. So take a look at the different clips of the wiring and choose what you want to do. But I like this setup so they're charging and discharging pretty equally. Here's what it looks like with the shelf in place. You can see the batteries are stored under there real nice. And so I can put additional things on top of this shelf right here. Let's look under the trailer to see how many wires we have running down here. So they run from over here near the AC panel. They run around here and then they go towards the front of the trailer. So I'm going to wrap them in this split conduit here to protect the wires. And then I have zip ties to zip tie them up. So here we go. Under the refrigerator, I have two locations where the wires are coming in. I have the wires wrapped in the split protective tubing. So what I got here, I want to seal this off. I'm going to use a foam in these locations, there and there. So it'll kind of protect it so nothing will get in the holes, any ants or anything, or moisture. So I want to seal all this off. Let me take you to the other end where the wires go and you'll have a good idea how I ran it. So over there is where the wires go in and out from under the refrigerator. And then they go in a split protective tubing that I have right here. You can see that tubing. It's zip tied to existing stuff that goes along there. I would come through here and it goes in this split tubing. I'll swing around here. I have it inside here to protect it from elements. It comes around, it comes over here, and this is where some of the wires come through and go up. This one is a ground that goes to the Lynx distributor, and I used a 4/0 wire for that. Then a couple wires go up here and above the tubing, and they go over here and they go up to the multi-plus. So I'm going to shoot foam around that, and I'm going to also shoot it around here, and then underneath the refrigerator are some wires that I want to protect too, going in there just like this on the other end. And I'm going to use this stuff called Great Stuff. It's a black expanding foam, and this will protect it from the elements. I want to keep the wires protected. It's all sealed up with the foam. Unfortunately, it doesn't look pretty. You can't spray this foam on with the can in the upright position. You have to be upside down with it, which you can't do underneath the trailer. So what I did was I have gloves on, so I sprayed it into my hand, my glove, and then put it in place that way. It's pretty messy stuff to do, but if I had to do this all over again, I'd probably use silicone instead. I just wanted to use the foam to expand and cover the area, but I would probably use silicone.